Good evening. Welcome along to Old Trafford, wherever you're watching this in the world. That is the scene outside the window as we gear up for one of the most famous fixtures in top-flight English football, Manchester United against Arsenal. And alongside me, live on Facebook right now, three men who know this fixture well. Tony Adams, lovely to have you with us this evening.
Thank you.
Looking forward to this one?
Absolutely. Fantastic fixture.
It's what it's all about, isn't it? And also Rio and Paul are with us as well. As always, if you've got any questions for any of the guys, this is a great opportunity for you. It doesn't matter what country you're in, where you're watching it, what time it is where you are. If you have a question about United, about Arsenal, about the game this evening, then just send it in right now on Facebook, however you're watching this, and I'll put it to the three of them. This is such a huge game. The first one actually comes in from Duffy, and he says, I'm just looking at this. If United somehow win tonight, they'll be only 5 points adrift. If they lose, it's 11, and I think it's all over for the top four. I mean, this is kind of a seminal night in the season, really, for United, isn't it?
Yeah, I still think top four is possible, even if they lose tonight. I think it's a long season, and we've seen teams, United have struggled so far, obviously, with their form. And you can see an Arsenal struggling, you can see a Tottenham maybe going through a difficult patch. So I don't think it's out of the question. I think it'd be difficult, but I don't think it's out of the question.
For that to happen, though, there needs to be a change, and so far there just hasn't been a change, has there?
No, there hasn't, and that's what we've been searching for. We've been fortunate enough to see quite a few Man United games this year, and we've all been sitting there going, tonight will be the night, and it just hasn't materialised for whatever reason that is. And I think Mourinho needs a big result today. I think for not only just for the team and for the morale of the team, but for himself. I think if you look at him in press conferences and whatnot, there seems to be a huge amount of pressure that he's overcome by at the moment. And so I think for anybody, I think he needs a huge result today.
I'm really interested, actually, to get your thoughts on this, because you often played Manchester United in an era where there was a fear factor, particularly coming here to Old Trafford. And I wonder whether there still is that now. I wonder whether in the tunnel tonight...
That was always our benchmark in Man United. In my first days, early days, it was Liverpool, but then it was Man United for a long period. You always come here and you kind of, the benchmark was United. How you did here. If you lost 8-2 here, you weren't going anywhere. But if you come here and got a good, if you got a good result and you knew that you had a hell of a chance to win in the league. But these two teams are nowhere near that at the moment.
Well, look, we put a poll out earlier on and it was asking who's going to finish higher in the league, Manchester United or Arsenal. There's the question. This is the result. You've been voting all day. Thanks very much if you got involved in this. And as you can see, it's overwhelming in favour of Arsenal. 82% of people that voted thought that Arsenal would finish higher than Manchester United. Can't really surprise you, can it?
They're going through a good run. Scalzi said earlier, I think they will hit half of those games that we've won. If we win tonight, it'd be 20 on the trot or whatever. And, we could have lost half of those, Arsenal. There will be a time, injuries at Man United at the moment, they've got shed loads of injuries. And Arsenal, I think, are just... They're getting the rub of the green, as it were. At 2-2 on Saturday, Hector Bellerin passed it square, and they could have done us, Tottenham. So it's a fine balance. It's a long season, and obviously people are going to say at the moment Arsenal 82% because they're on a bit of a roll.
But there is an energy about Arsenal that there just isn't about Man United at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, there is for now. And as Tony says, it's a long season. Injuries, suspensions can come into it. United's form has been really bad, and you don't expect that to carry on. As Rio said, you expect at some point the players are going to start playing to the capabilities. It has to start soon, we know that. But as we know, it's a long season, anything can happen. You understand at the minute why Arsenal fans or everybody's saying that Arsenal are going to finish above United because of the form they're in at the minute. But it gets to the Christmas period, injuries, suspensions, things can turn around. United find a bit of form, you never know.
Russell Churchman has sent us a question in. Thanks, Russell. There's lots of them coming in. If you're watching this and you have a question, send it in now. It's a great opportunity for you to put your question to my three guests. Russell says, play the United way, not the Jose way. That seems to be a sort of recurring theme from United fans. It's not just about the results, it's about the style of football here.
Yeah, not the United. I think you just want an entertaining style of football, and I think you want they've been used to having the fruits here in terms of playing attacking, free-flowing football, imagination, creativity, gung-ho at times, throwing everything at the kitchen sink at it when need be. And here at the moment, it's a very conservative style of play, and it's very much step backwards first before we go forwards, and that's not what these fans are used to. But listen, Jose Mourinho was very much like that before anyway, so to expect much different was ludicrous, really. But I think Jose Mourinho is a real football man, and I thought he'd come in here. I feel his style of on tactics would evolve into a way that would be more suiting to Manchester United, maybe aligned to his first base, which is a more conservative defensive style of play. But that hasn't materialised. Listen, his first season he won 3 trophies. Let's not forget that, which was great. But there's got to be then improvements along the way and a development through the squad. And it seems to have, if anything, gone backwards since that first season.
As someone who's spent a lot of time in dugouts and technical areas since you stopped playing, Tony, do you think that Jose Mourinho has been judged fairly? Because Rio talks about him winning trophies. Well, in the time that he's won those 3 trophies, Jurgen Klopp's not won a trophy, Mauricio Pochettino's not won a trophy. The money is different here, the expectation perhaps is different here.
The expectations, you've got it. It's a huge club, you know, and coming in here, and I think he's still fought, you know, the previous managers. He's still got a lot of players from previous managers as well, and it takes time. It takes time to adjust. You know, I think he's the business. You know, I think Mourinho's the best in the game. You know, absolutely, without doubt. But he does seem to be struggling here for one reason or another. He sets his stall out. He gets a good defence. He gets the good goalkeeper. He has people. He has kind of soldiers. And he hasn't found that here. And going back to his Real Madrid days, the first club that he'd been to with the players, he didn't get on with the players. And it's looking like it's not happening here. You speak to Inter Milan players, to Chelsea players that played under him, they love him. Absolutely, they would do anything for him. You talk to Real Madrid and a few Man United bits and pieces going on, there's not that same affection. And he's really struggled, I think, to find a firm base here. You know, defensively for sure. You know, they've got injuries and stuff, but he's not set his stall out and been resilient. I don't see no resilience at United.
Tone, yeah, obviously I've not been one. Scholes hasn't either. So, is that down to the manager to create that, or does he need the help of the players? Or
a bit of both, I think. I think it's got to be 2 ways. You've got to have the respect. He knows what to do. You know, I've seen him at work with his players, and he makes them love him. You know what I mean? He's got the energy. I don't see that here. I see Pep Guardiola down the road there. I see him infused, ignited with his squad. You know, he's on him. He'll do anything for you. I don't think he's giving off the same thing. He's not giving it off, and he's not getting it back from the players for me.
What's changed then? If he's done that in the past and it's worked so effectively?
I think it's the club. Sometimes it's the wrong fit. You know, let's be honest. I think sometimes you come up here and you don't know the club, the expectations, you've got to have the people behind you as well. You know, you've got to have your staff, the CEO, all these people at the club that are actually bang on your side, and it don't seem to be the case here either. You know, and he's always been the number one. You know, he's always been the number one and been you know, bigger than all the clubs that he's been at, and there's no way he's going to be bigger than Man United. There's no way.
What do you think when you hear Tony talk about him being the wrong fit?
Yeah, it could be possible. It feels like he's stuck in the middle of everything in the minute. I said last week at the Champions League game, like he's a little bit lonely. He's in between the players. He's not quite getting on with the players. It doesn't look like, we don't know that. It just doesn't look like that. That's the vibes you get. It doesn't look like he's getting on with the board and the CEO, as Tony said. He's having arguments about his players and his scouting and all this kind of stuff. It just seems a little bit on his own in a minute. He lost his assistant, who I think was a big influence on him. Was it Rui Faria, I think, the lad who's been with him for years, and he's lost him, and just feels a bit lonely at the minute, and things don't seem quite right.
I wonder whether the club is in the state it needs to be in, because it's not just the manager, is it? There's no director of football here. We had the issues with him wanting certain players over the summer, Ed Woodward not wanting to buy those players. You just wonder whether the setup is right at United and whether it needs a root and branch.
United have never had a director of football, really, have they? So it's no different now.
The game's changed, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, the game's changed, but I think Ed Woodward sees him as himself as a person who can go out and execute signings. And I think, if you have to be honest, in the last few years, he's been called upon to go and get players, and he's got them. I think Mourinho's asked for particular players, and I'm sure he's gone and got them. Yeah, there was murmurs that he wasn't happy he didn't get a centre half, but let's not forget that Fred came through the door, Sanchez came through the door in the windows previous.
Successful, then?
No, that's not the point. The point is that he's been backed in that sense. He's been backed and he's got the players that he's asked for. And maybe he didn't get 1 or 2, but listen, how many other managers go out there and say, I want all the 5 players, and they get every player on the list? They don't. That's what happens. It's life. Then you've got to make it work. It's not about sitting back and looking what's happened before. Oh, no, I didn't get so-and-so and moaning about that. What you've got there is a pack of cards you've got to play with. Now play with it and make it work. But that's what great managers do. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's not been going as smoothly as we would like, and I'm sure what Jose would have liked. But that's the way the club is. But I don't think the club. I think the club. You look at the club from a commercial point of view, it's fantastic. It's just not working out there where it's most important, and that's on the pitch.
I wonder when you talk about Jose being the best, whether you're sort of judging him on his past glories in some ways.
Well, the game's changing. The modern game, you know, Arsenal's had a restructure this year. You know, complete restructure, and Emery is completely different to the manager that Arsene Wenger was. You know, Arsene had complete control. Alex Ferguson did at this club. Emery goes into work and he works with those players. That's it. He's not interested. The stadium's built, the training ground's built. You know, his total focus is on that group of players and getting the best out of those group of players. I think Mourinho's still got a foot in the past, as it were, you know, being the kind of manager as well as the coach. And I think he's just got to maybe let go of that and go, right, actually, what I'm good at, I'm great at getting this team motivated, get them organised and stick them on the pitch. And I think he's just got one foot in one camp and one foot in the other at the moment.
Lots of other questions coming in. Stephen Rich says, is it time for United to make the big decision if they lose tonight?
I don't know. It's a difficult question, that. I think, is there a ready-made replacement out there that they're going to get immediately? Do you know what I mean? I think
that's the question. Is there someone there? If
you can't just make a decision knee-jerk just like that, and then start thinking about who we're going to get in after. There needs to be that process lined up and ready. But I'd love to see
talk of Zidane, wasn't there, after he left his previous job, and
yeah, but. Listen,
is he the right man though? We don't know. Do we? He went into Real Madrid, who had a group of brilliant
winners.
Players already. It's a totally different job. I think he has to totally rebuild confidence, and the expectation is huge here with a squad that aren't quite performing. And it'd be totally different. He went to Real Madrid. Remember, with so many great players in the team. I'm not saying it's an easy job. It's still difficult to do. But this is it looks like a whole new rebuilding structure.
Shirts at Real Madrid. I played against him. I had to work my socks off, as it were. 4-0 down after 15 minutes. You're like, oh, you're working. In the other box, he's going, well, good, well played. Go on, Scholesy, go on, do your stuff.
You remember it well. Painful. Another question that we asked earlier, who would you rather have in charge of your team, Jose Mourinho or Unai Emery? 20% selected Jose over Unai. And we talk about an impact on a team and saying that Jose needs time. Many people feel he's had time and he's had the money, he's had the players. The speed at which Unai has impacted that Arsenal team is stunning. And you were saying earlier on when we were talking, Rio, that you see the two managers really having two teams that are depicting their manager's approach to life, basically, the way they are as people.
What we were talking about before is that Unai Emery, he's come in and there's a freshness about that, and that always happens. No matter who comes in the door, it's a freshness that comes in that straight away. The doors fly open and everyone's happy to see him and want to improve and impress him. But then it's down to coaching. We saw it with Sarri at Chelsea. Immediately you could see that his print was all over that team. Now it's the same with Unai Emery, and I think his team is a reflection of his personality. They're fresh, they're hungry. They have a desire, you can see it comes out straight away, especially in the derby the other day. Whereas I think Manchester United's team is a reflection of their manager. Yeah. I think he's looking for answers elsewhere but himself. He's shifting responsibility, so to speak, sometimes when you hear him speak in press conferences. And I see that out there on the pitch. I see players looking around. Whose fault is it? Because I think at the end of the day, from my experience of playing under managers, I think managers always took a lot of the responsibility and the brunt of it within press conferences for the team. And I don't see Jose doing that at the moment. And that's the Jose that I knew before. Yeah. When you speak to past players at Chelsea, like you say, Inter Milan, etc., he was the guy when that in that press conference and took it all on his shoulders. Give me the pressure. I'll take that. I'll leverage that against my players and make sure they go out there. Siege mentality. We go and work against other teams, but he doesn't seem to be doing that now. And that's the difference between the two personalities of the teams.
I think the thing with Emery, I think his job was a little bit easier in the sense. I think Arsenal just needed a bit of steel. They've always had great players down the years. You just need to bring a bit of energy, a bit of resilience about them, a bit of steel, a bit of hard work and desire. And I think he's done that. Bringing Torreira in was a good move from him. He's brought that little bit of aggression. I mean, you think of Arsenal teams down the years. You go back to Tony's team with Vieira and Petit and such a tough back four. great footballers, but you couldn't bully them.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't soft. They was tough fighters as well. So
What a team, Tony.
A great team.
Hey, we were just
He
talking
didn't
about...
play him. Yeah, Emery didn't play him at the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's had a rub of the green.
Yeah.
He really has. And he's had a... And luckily, I would have been happy with 6. You know, transitional year. He's got to find out where his players are, what his relationship coming over into the country. But he's actually had the rub of the green. Like I said, we could have lost at least 10 at half of those games. He didn't play Holding. He didn't play Lino. He didn't play Torreira in the first couple of games, 2 games.
maybe just getting them up to speed, because
Yeah.
I think Sunday we saw a different Arsenal with a high energy, aggressive team, and that takes a little bit of time to get players up to that
I
level.
think as big a decision he's made this season is Ozil, because he's putting him on the bench as being the talisman of this team, and he's been the hype in this team. Everyone's looked to him for inspiration over the years, for whether it's the fans, the media, or Arsenal in the last few years. And he's put him on the bench, and he's even said in the media, because this game was there and it needed high intensity, and he wasn't the man for the job. So to do that is a big move for one of your big players, and that sets a tone for the rest of the team, which I think has had a huge importance.
And it puts responsibility on
To
others.
get the result.
Yeah.
Hey,
On
Tony,
top of that.
Yeah,
But he's
exactly.
a Big decision.
when you turn around, Tony, you look out the window there and the groundsmen are doing the last bit of work and putting the lines on, just making it look beautiful.
I'm not looking.
16
I'm too
years since
excited.
you retired. Do you still miss it?
There's only one place we all want to be tonight,
Yeah.
I think, is out there, but I can't run around
Thanks
anymore.
for that.
Well, it lasts about 10 minutes. And there you
Do
go.
well. How long? How long would you last?
Fantastic.
No, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. No chance. I've gone.
I've got
Scholesy, meanwhile, in the centre circle,
Scholesy,
pinging
mate.
balls around for
Never
fun.
needed to run anyway.
Give me an hour, Jack. I'll be all right.
Love it. Right, thanks for joining us on this Facebook Live. Enjoy the game tonight. We get going live on BT Sport from 7 o'clock. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff here at Old Trafford, and it should be a cracker. Thanks for your company. See you later.